Anong epekto ng tariff dito sa Pilipinas na nararamdaman natin sa ngayon?
Hi everyone, you know what time it is. It's
Trade
O'Clock. And welcome to Smart Trade Talk Episode 2. Let's break down to the latest market trends, hot opportunities, and smart strategies to level up your trading game only here with Smart Trade. My name is Gab Santos, Market Analyst, Smart Trade.
And I'm Edwin Sagibo, the Head of Learning and Development for Smart Trade.
So for today's episode, ang pag-uusapan natin is all about tariffs. So ano ba yung tinatawag na tariffs, no? So in tariffs, basically, ito yung taxes that is imposed by government sa export at import goods. So, Sir Ed, alam naman natin na ang tariffs due to the ongoing issue ngayon ay sobrang hot ngayon, no? So, paano nga ba nagsimula yung tariffs na yan? And the rest of other information.
So, kung babalikan natin yung usapin ng tariff, nag-umpisa lahat yan as a campaign promise ni Trump during the first campaign, no? So it was about 2018 or somewhere between 2017 and 2018. Kasi nung mga panahon na yon, ang US talamak ang walang trabaho. So in order for him to win his presidency, he promised America two things: to make America great again by bringing in back the companies, the big US companies, to bring it back sa US mainland. And the second is job opportunities for a wider range of people, no? So yung dalawang yan ang promise ni Trump na nagpanalo sa kanya sa presidency niya sa US. So ang nangyari, he could not convince these big companies to bring back their operation sa US. Kaya ang tanging naisip niya is not through tax incentives, because obviously tax incentives won't work because mas malaki ang nakukuha ng mga companies like Tesla, companies like iPhone, Mac or iPhone, no? Mas malaki ang nagiging profit margin nila by operating in offshore from the US mainland. So ang naisip ni Trump ay mag-impose ng tariff ngayon para mapilitan itong mga kumpanya na ibalik yung kanilang operation sa US mainland. So that was the start of the tariff imposition to other countries, no? Which included tariff taxes to subparts or subcomponents ng mga products na pinoproduce ng mga US companies. So basically, those were the reasons why Trump imposed tariffs on different countries, no? So I'm sure you will be able to share with us, Gab, kung paano sinimulan ni Trump yung itong tariff war na nagaganap ngayon.
So magandang tanongin, sir, no? So apat yung naging main reasons ni Trump kung bakit niya sinimulan yung tariffs way back nung first term niya sa United States, no? So number one, nagkaroon kasi ng massive trade deficit sa China, which is umabot ng $375 billion for the year of 2017. And second is nagkaroon ng alleged intellectual property theft, and na-force doon yung mga technology transfers. And at the same time, based on naging data ng employment, there's a major loss of manufacturing jobs due to the low wages countries. And alam naman natin na ang tariffs, it also promotes jobs in other industries. And lastly, nagkaroon ng tinatawag na unfair trading practices. So, based for reasons na yun, let's talk about din, no, yung tinatawag na chronological moves nung tariffs ni Donald Trump. First thing is nung March 2018. So, ang ginawa niya doon is he imposed 25% tariffs sa steel, 10% sa aluminum, targeting China, EU, Canada, and Mexico. Then, fast forward, the same year, 2018, month of July, nagkaroon ng first wave of tariffs for about $34 billion worth of Chinese goods. And then, up to this date, yung current tariffs ni Trump, no, is pumapalo ng 145% sa China in general, no. But si China, nagkaroon din sila ng tinatawag na reciprocal tariffs and umabot ng 125%. So basically, when we talk about reciprocal tariffs, is you tax my country, I'll tax yours. So ganun yung nangyaring ongoing cycle, and then versus dun sa previous years, no? Nung first time na naupo si Trump, and then he imposed tariffs. So yun guys, no? Ayun yung genesis of tariff war. So next, Sir Ed, no, ano naman yung global economic implications ng tariffs in general?
Medyo malawak na usapin yan, Gab, no? So, let's try to cut it down into three effects. So, ang pinakaunang effect niyan is, the most obvious is disrupted supply chains. So, yung disrupted supply chains, kasi ang mga companies, lalong-lalo na sa mga, in order for them to survive this present tariff condition being imposed by Trump, is for them to look for other countries or to look for countries that may have friendlier na environment as a result of the tariff imposition ng mga taxes. So ang number 2 effect niyan under the disrupted supply chains, of course, is yung cost push inflation. So ano nga ba ang ibig sabihin ng cost push inflation? Kasi because of the tariffs, it is expected na aakyat ang presyo ng mga bilihin. And sa US right now, they're already beginning to feel yung pag-akyat ng presyo ng mga bilihin nila as a result of tariff imposition by Trump. So in order for companies to make their products or services be competitive with the locally manufactured products or services, ang ginagawa nila ngayon ay either nag-reshore sila or nag-nearshore. So ano nga ba itong nearshore-reshore concept na to? So itong reshore, ibig sabihin pwede nilang ibalik yung mga kumpanya nila dun sa bansa na kung saan sila originally nag-ooperate. Yung nearshore naman ay pwedeng ibalik yung companies nila dun sa bansa na malapit lang sa kanila. That's why nagiging mainit na usapin ngayon, yung mga tariff na ini-impose ni Trump sa Canada, sa Mexico, kasi if you would notice, these are the border countries ng US. Kumbaga kapitbahay ng US to. So naturally, diyan nila ilipat yung kanilang production. So naisip ni Trump kaagad yan, that's why he is also imposing tariffs on these countries. So that's number 1. Number 2 is slowed economic growth or slowed global growth. As a matter of fact, ang economic global growth that during this imposition of tariffs na in 2017 was 3% and in 2019 it was around 2.3%. Ang forecast ngayong 2025, the global economic growth will be down to 1.7%. So lahat mag-slow down because of the tariffs na if you look at the news right now, marami ng kumpanya ang nagsasara sa China because of wala nang orders na ginagawa sa mga companies nila. So that's why they're beginning to close down their operations. And then number 3 is investment uncertainty because of the tariffs, companies are thinking twice or many times before they invest into additional operations nila sa ibang bansa because since medyo they are expecting a slowdown na income, they are also scaling back yung kanilang operations. So those are the 3 most notable or most obvious effects ng tariffs natin ngayon. So that is as far as the global implication ng tariffs. So I'm sure you will be able to explain to us, Gab, kung paano naman ang nangyayari dito sa Pilipinas ngayon. Anong epekto ng tariff dito sa Pilipinas na nararamdaman natin sa ngayon?
So that's a good question, Sir Ed, kasi karamihan ng nabasa nating article is related sa tariffs ng US. Pero ang question is kung affected ba tayo sa Philippines in general. So we are somewhat untouched right now sa Philippines in terms of tariffs, but up to this date, kung na-upload na tong video na to, recently, di ba nagkaroon ng 100% tariff si Trump sa film production, kagaya nung sa Netflix, If let's say you're paying 400 pesos per month after the tax or the 12% VAT na na-impose, you're paying 600 pesos per month roughly. So yun yung naging effect nung tariffs sa film production. But overall, we are somewhat untouched sa tariffs as of this moment. So, let us focus muna dun sa tinatawag na trade shifts and opportunities. Merong tinatawag na partial benefit and then partial vulnerability. So, first, let's discuss muna yung partial benefits. Since nangyari nga, no, isa sa pinakamalaking tariffs na na-impose is sa China, a lot of firms sought out alternatives na mag-relocate na kanilang businesses sa China, Southeast Asia, kagaya sa atin sa Philippines. So which means, like we've said kanina, yung tariffs, it also promotes jobs. So it means if a lot of countries from SEAs, they relocated their businesses, ibig sabihin, mas marami yung possible na job opportunities na mag-open sa ating mga Filipinos. And next is partial vulnerability. Sa Philippines kasi, no, we're heavily relying sa raw materials sa China in terms of electronics. So let's just say that 20% ng mga firms sa other SEAs na nag-relocate sa Philippines, and some of them, or majority of them, ay heavily relying sa raw materials sa China, then mas maganda rin yung possible na boost na economic data natin in terms of employment. No? Next is yung tinatawag nating currency volatility. Now, few weeks ago, yung value ng dollar against the peso experienced a extremely volatile, no, sa market. Dumating sa point wherein the value went up as high as 58, but right now it's down to 55. You have to remember that sa currency market, every single day as long as the market is open, laging may tinatawag na volatility, no? May mga fluctuations sa prices. But you have to remember that if the value of dollar is stronger against the peso, hindi maganda yun sa economy natin, no? Since mas sumihina yung currency natin overall. And conversely, if the dollar is down against the peso, it means mas dumadami or mas lumalakas yung value ng currency natin, and it means mas maraming potential investors na pwedeng pumasok sa countries natin, which is also a good sign for the dollar against the peso and the Philippine economy overall. Next is yung export slowdown. So di ba na mention ni Sir kanina, no, na dahil sa tariffs nga, maraming firms, to be specific sa China, na nag-close, no. So na-mention ko rin kanina that sa Philippines, no, we heavily rely sa raw materials in terms of electronics sa China. And sad to say, no, na majority of the companies na nag-export sa Philippines ng mga semiconductors, sobrang naapektuhan yung kanilang negosyo, no. So, for example, ito, no, if let's say meron kang company na steel company, no, and you're planning to export sa United States, and sa United States nag-impose sila ng 20% tariff sa steel. So, if I'm planning to export $1 million worth of steel sa US, I need to pay additional 200,000 worth of tariffs para ma-export ko siya, no? So, ganun kabigat yung kailangan kong bayaran. That is why, ayun yung isa sa mga naging main reasons kung bakit a lot of companies, they decided to stop their export sa US.
Yes.
So, I need to pay additional 200,000 worth of tariffs. Ibig sabihin lang nun, mas malaki yung magiging value ng steel ko if I pay an additional tariff sa United States, no. Mas lalaki yung value niya, and it can boost revenue sa company ko as well, no. But you have to remember that due to the tariffs, a lot of export companies, they decided to step down sa US, and ayun yung naging results, no. Then lastly, we're talking about the investment sentiment. So due to the ongoing tension sa tariffs, hindi lang naman yun yung nangyayari, no, but recently yung naging tension sa China and Taiwan, sir, no, which is tied up tayo since we heavily rely sa China sa exports. You have to remember that if you're going to pick any trading instruments, you have to be very cautious sa pag-trade ng mga ganyan, regardless if you're trading stock market, CFDs, cryptocurrencies, anything that is related to trading industry. You have to be very cautious kasi yung market uncertainty is something that we cannot predict, and it happens within a day. Who knows, right? Wala nakakaalam ng ganun, no? But it can be avoided by reading a lot of trading articles and news events. Okay, so nalaman na natin, no, yung possible effects nito sa Philippines. Ngayon naman, Sir Ed, ano ba yung magiging possible effects naman nito sa US economy overall?
So, isang magandang question yan, Gab, no? Because it seems that Trump did not foresee these things happening in the US. So, ang pinaka-first na naging boomerang nito sa US is increased cost of consumer products or consumer prices in the US, because we have to consider na ang mga products na binabalik sa US or ina-export ng ibang countries sa US is usually ginagawa yan sa ibang bansa. And if Trump is going to impose tariff sa China, when it goes back to the US, it will have there will be additional cost in terms of tariff. So yung tulad ng ina-explain mo kanina Gab sa steel, if you are going to export 1 million worth of steel sa US, you will need to pay 200,000 more. So ibig sabihin yung cost cost input, or ibig sabihin yung puhunan, no, lumalaki yung puhunan. So kung malaki ang puhunan, mas mataas mo rin dapat ito ibenta para magkaroon ka ng enough na profit margin. So yun yung naging pinakaunang epekto nito sa US. Umakyat ang mga bilihin sa US, no? Even the consumer products na mga basic consumer products, tumaas din ang presyo. And then number 2 is strained US agriculture. Ano nga ba ibig sabihin ng strained US agriculture? Ang US kasi, ang number 1 export ng US, no, when it comes to agriculture is soya beans. Why soya beans? Because soya beans, ginagamit yan as a fertilizer sa China, no? Fertilizer for their ang tawag dito, yung mga swine, yung things of that sort, no? Yung mga sa animal industry nila, like pork, sa pork, sa beef, and sa mga iba't ibang klase ng mga hayop, no? What they feed these animals is soya beans. So, yung soya beans na yan, China decided as a retaliation not to buy from the US. Instead, it looked into Russia para bumili ng kanilang soya beans from Russia. So, syempre ang Russia is all masaya at nangyari yon. So, another thing na nangyari is because of that, US did not want their agriculture sector to back down or to collapse. So ang nangyari, they rolled out their multi-billion bailout for the agricultural industry. So that's the second one, no? And then ang third is corporate uncertainty. Sabi naman natin, whenever there is uncertainty, or napansin nyo naman, no, na Trump would always change his stance when it comes to tariff imposition. This time he says this, and then the next time he says another thing. So ang mga businessman or ang mga companies, ang corporate environment, they do not want these uncertainties, because if you have uncertainty in your midst between now and the future, mahirap mag-predict ng future. And ang gusto ng mga companies, they can always predict the future. They would want to always predict the future accurately, because they would want to have control of what is going to happen for them to achieve their projections in the future. So nagkakaroon ng strain yan. So ang that is another effect, no? Nagkakaroon ng mas nakaka-curtail yung mga expansion ng mga companies sa iba't ibang areas. So, and number 4 is slower growth, no? So yung slower growth naman, expected yan na mangyayari because of obviously consumer spending will be affected. So if consumer spending is affected, company profits will also be affected. If company profits is going to be affected, of course expansion will be affected also. So meaning everything else will be affected. So kaya they are expecting slower growth for the US companies during these times of high tariff rates. So as a conclusion, perhaps Gabs, you would want to share with us your thoughts on about this whole thing of about tariffs.
So yun, Sir Ed, no, yung naging conclusion natin dito sa tariffs na to, una, sa financial markets, to be specific, yung gold. Dun sa mga gold traders dyan, no, alam nyo nangyari sa gold. It created all-time high. Umabot siya ng $3,500 per ounce. And as of today, no, for this video, nasa 3,000 per ounce pa rin yung range ng gold. And some of them, they think it will they think it's a reversal, but you know, if you're going to check the chart of gold, if bumabagsak siya, it's just full retracement from the all-time highs. And aside from that, yung oil as well, the current value of oil is around 55 per barrel, and it's approaching the $60 mark, and sobrang naapektuhan din yung value ng oil. But the recent news is by the month of or next June, the OPEC Plus are planning to increase the oil production. So, ibig sabihin nito, mababa yung value ng oil ngayon per barrel. If they're planning to increase production, most likely the market will fear oversupply. And we're not sure kung anong mangyari sa oil if they implemented the production, and they're planning for about 411 per barrel every week. So, tingnan natin kung masusunod yung gusto nila, no, sa OPEC Plus. And in general, if you're going to pay attention sa mga economic data like manufacturing sector sa United States, the ISM manufacturing PMI, it's currently at 48, which is the healthy grading is 50. So if it's below 50, it's contracting, nasa contraction phase. May sabihin hindi robust yung economy in terms of manufacturing, no. Kasi in general, if the grade for the manufacturing is 50 above, then it means maganda yung tinatakbo na economy ng US in terms of manufacturing. And kayo ba, Sir Ed, no? Ano yung naging final thoughts nyo, no, sa ginaging discussion natin sa tariffs?
So in the context of globalization, no, a tariff war will not lead to anywhere. It will not produce any victor, or it will not create any clear winner, pero bagkus lahat ay masasaktan lang economically. So yun yung dapat na tinitingnan natin, because for so long a time our global economy has been structured for globalization, where everyone is interdependent to each other and maximize yung mga resources natin. So in this times of tariff wars, where it encourages, no, protectionism and isolation, and it will not create any clear winner. So let's just hope that this global war, or global tariff war, will not last long.
So that's a wrap for today's episode of Smart Trade Talk. We hope you gain a lot of insights to boost your trading game. So if you love this episode, be sure to subscribe, share, and leave us a review, as it helps us to bring more expert advice straight to your ears. If you want to take your trading skills even further, sign up for our free webinars, attend our seminars, or get personalized coaching to level up your strategy. And remember, trading is all about knowledge, discipline, and smart decisions. Until next time, stay sharp, stay positive, and trade smart with Smart Trade.